Welcome back to Fantasy Footballaholics 2021 pre-mock draft before my draft, which starts tomorrow. I'm on here with Dustin, who won't be on audio, but he'll be drafting the 11th spot, which is the conference we're in, and I will be drafting number 12, which is the position I'm in the draft. Our order was based on success of last season, so basically we did well, so we're in the back of the draft. So makes things fun. Rankings this year already done. Got an Excel spreadsheet. I'm gonna kind of go through this one by one and show you if I was drafting that position is where I would be. Let's get this going because this takes a while. So this will kind of show off my rankings as well. All right, first pick, PPR, McCaffrey's the lock, Cook's the second lock. But in my draft, I really think in a standard league that Derrick Henry is the guy. Derrick Henry had 2,000 yards last year, and he's definitely the center of the offense like McCaffrey and Cook, but his running style in a standard league, if you can get close to 2,000 yards, obviously he's going to regress, and usually if guys have 2,000 yards in one season, the next season won't be as productive, but even if he gets 1,600 and gets pounded in the red zone, he's going to get you really safe stats, and he's big and durable. Cook and McCaffrey, Kamara all have had some injury history, so out of those four in a standard league, I tend to like Henry the best. Number two, let's set number two here, ranking-wise. After I did this for a while, this is more based on injury. I really think those four backs there's kind of any order you can go. Kamara is going to get the less touches on the ground than all of them, but he should get tons of passing opportunities. I think especially since they have a new quarterback, I think they might even dump down to him more. I know when Breeze was out last year, they kind of struggled getting him the ball, but I still think his availability would keep him up in the top five backs. McCaffrey and Cook, like I said, they're both a little injury history, so I feel like Kamara at 2 is a good pick. Number 3, I go with Dalvin Cook here. I know a lot of people have Christian McCaffrey number 1, but just coming off that big injury, new quarterback, I just don't want to draft him. I would draft him when he falls down here in a little bit, but early on, Cook's had really 2 good seasons in a row. He has some injury history, which is why I took those guys over him, but I think he's still a really good pick. This one might surprise you right here. Actually, it's the next pick that'll probably surprise you. Let's set this player. This is Christian McCaffrey. Had that amazing year where he had 100 catches, 1,500 yards. Was literally the entire offense of the Carolina Panthers. I feel like he's going to take a few games to get rolling, but I do expect him still to be in the top 5 as long as he stays healthy. So if you want to grab him number 1, I'm fine with that. These 4 guys here, really, any of them are going to be a good pick. That's why if you just select your spot, I think 4th is the best just because you get one of these guys and it's not that big a deal. Number 5. Number 5, I go Ezekiel Elliott. Elliott is, to me, obviously his rookie year was his best year of his career. It's kind of dwindled off. The offensive line hasn't been as good as it has been. But I think if Dak becomes healthy again, a few games back, they got some of their offensive linemen returned. They have the best receiving core in the NFL. Solid tight end. He apparently lost some weight, which is why it pushed him up higher here for me. But I feel like Elliott will have an explosive season. I look to him to getting back in the numbers. I think he's really close to these guys because of his down season last year, and he's getting a little bit older. I think he's probably around 28 now. A little bit of question marks, but I feel like he's going to have a really good bounce back season. Number 6, Mr. Chubbs. Strong legs, strong back, fast back, run heavy offense. So obviously there's always the concerns of getting carries taken away from him because they have 2 really good backs in Cleveland. But he will be the first down back, get a little breather here and there. He'll still get 20 carries in that run heavy offense, so you shouldn't worry too much about that. Number 7, I got Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones ADP is going to move to the back of the first round, but with me, always good to get running backs early if you can. Otherwise, if you don't get running backs earlier, the running back depth, especially this year, needs some help. Number 8 is Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley obviously has top of the round potential. He was drafted number 1 after his rookie season. He was still drafted high hit before his rookie season. Problem with Barkley's is having injuries lately. Offensive line of the Giants isn't very good, but by far the most talented back in the draft. Just needs the offense to play better, needs to stay healthy, but if you draft him here, you're getting top 5 potential as long as he stays healthy, which is always the problem with drafting him. Number 9, I got Mixon for running back. So right here is where you pivot back to running backs. Number 9 will be my first receiver off the board. Devontae Adams has had back-to-back monster years with the Packers. His touchdowns will probably regress, but it's still a monstrous year. And after that will be the 1-2, which is Tyreek Hill, most explosive receiver in the draft. And now we'll go up to Dustin. So it looks like Dustin selected Taylor. Let me confirm that. Jonathan Taylor is definitely projected middle of the rounds. The reason I don't have Taylor on there is last year he was up and down, didn't get going for a while, but when he got going, he looked really good. So he's got middle of the road, mid-tier running back 1 potential. I just feel these guys are already more established, already proven they can do it. Jonathan Taylor did have half a season where he looked really good, and it looks like it is his game to lose there, but he just still has Hines there. He still has Marlon Mack there. He still has people that he can contest carries with. So it is a little bit risky, but I still like him there. So I think that's a great pick by Dustin, which he did confirm that he selected. It just went so fast because he got so excited. So for me, after your 2 receivers, I got a couple receivers in the second round. I got Travis Kelce going first or second round. So most drafts is what happens here is I end up getting Travis Kelce, one of my 2 picks. Not always loving it, but it's kind of the way it ends up. Kelce's been the number 1 tight end for 5 straight years. So you know what you're getting. Best offense in the league, best tight end in the league. He's gonna beat your opponent every single week in the tight end spot, guaranteed. Rarely has off nights where he doesn't get involved at all. So he's a great player to have. My divisions, we're not taking quarterback till the 3rd round. Not taking another tight end till the 4th. Obviously, defenses and kickers are off the board. Second round picks. So the 9th best running back on my list is Joe Mixon. So probably if this dropped here, I'd definitely be selecting Joe. It's really hard to pass up on some of the receivers. But I feel like the most established running back, if he stays healthy, is Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is by himself now. Giovanni Bernard left. So I will undo this for Dustin. And we'll see who he picks. But yeah, so Joe Mixon, one more time, by himself, can catch passes. Didn't have to do it when Gio was there, but now Gio's gone. So if he stays healthy, he's same workload as these top tier guys. Not as explosive and has some injury history, but to me, he's one of the best backs. Now we got Dustin on the clock. Still got Stefan Diggs and Hopkins, two really good receivers. Probably where he looks. Running back wise, Eckler, Gibson. He really likes Najee Harris. Clyde Edwards is more of a late second round guy. Kind of after these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11 running backs, you got Eckler and Gibson, Harris, and after that, these are third round, late second round talents. So let's pause the draft again. So you got Najee Harris, like I thought. Then here, we're probably going to be going to receiver, but let's take a look at the running backs really quick. Jonathan Taylor, he got him. Taylor was not my next pick. I got Josh Jacobs second round. I got Joe Mixon first and second. So I do got Josh Jacobs in the second round, but I think a lot of the receivers in the second round are better. So we got DK and Hopkins. I'll throw these two right away. I think Hopkins is the third best receiver in the league. He's just as good as these two guys. Only question mark here is they have a little more weapons in Arizona, and he has a little bit of injury history lately, so that's what scares me a little bit about him. After Hopkins, I got Stefan Diggs. Stefan Diggs, first year in Buffalo, was Josh Allen's best friend. Him and Josh Allen killed it last year, had great chemistry. Some of the touchdowns are going to drop off, but he's still going to get a lot of volume. And he was even good in Minnesota with Kirk Cousins. Now with Josh Allen, a lot better for him. All right, after that, we're going to go get some more running backs. Running backs are always a thing for me, if you guys remember my drafts. So 11th pick, I got do Josh Jacobs. I think Josh Jacobs, his carries are going to go a little bit down. Some people are scared that Drake came in there, but I'm not really too concerned about that. He's still going to get his ground yards. He will lose some pass volume, but I think the Raiders already kind of established that before, so a lot of people don't think there's that big a deal there. After Josh Jacobs, I got David Montgomery. David Montgomery, the second half of the season, is one of the best backs in the league. Especially when they started getting him more involved in the pass game when Cohen went down. Cohen's is still injured, so the start of the season he will be getting the full workload. And I feel like if they do well or he does well, that even when Cohen comes back healthy, he will only spill him on third downs. He won't be in on all third downs. After Montgomery at 11, my 12th back on the board is Taylor, which was already taken by Dustin. And then I got Eckler and Gibson, both of these guys. A lot of these guys are projected to go end of the second. I like the workload they're both going to get, but Eckler just came off an injury, and Gibson's came off his rookie season where he did start getting more involved at the end of the year. I still think having them as your number one back at the end of the first is risky, but middle of the round, second round, they're both good. 15 is that second and third range. So Let's see any second rounders we got still available. This is where Mahomes can be selected if you wanted to, but I don't go that far here. Second round. So second and third round, we'll be going with Chris Carson. Chris Carson has been dropping sometimes to the mid to late third, which I think is way overkill for him. He's a great back if he stays healthy. He's definitely got the ability to do 1,200 rushing yards, 10 plus touching downs, and even 500 yards receiving. His issues missing a few games here and there every year. Number 16, Deandre Swift. Last year's rookie running back for the Detroit Lions. Now he is more of a pass catching back, being more involved. They always say sophomore running backs do get more involved in the passing game, so he should get more volume. And he did start towards the second half of the season last year and looked really well. I believe he was the top 10 running back in the second half. 17, J.K. Dobbins. J.K. has had a really good second half of the season. His first half he was really bad, but when they started giving him the ball more, he's exploded. Mark Ingram's gone. He is the man to lose the job. Edwards is behind him, but shouldn't be that big of a deal. After J.K., we got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Getting him in the turn in the second or the start of the third is a good place for him. Last year I drafted him at the end of the second. The reason he dropped is because he didn't really have any touchdowns last year. One of the worst touchdowns per targets in the league last year. That volume should go up in the Chiefs. 19, we got Miles Sanders. But we're going to go get some receivers. So we are on the fifth receiver, which is Mike Evans for me. This group of receivers here, it's just kind of who you want. All the guys on the screen there are good. Mike Evans has had 1,000 yards all 5 of his first seasons. I think the Bucs offense can handle that workload. I'm not too worried about it. Number 6, I got Ridley, and 7, I got A.J. Brown. Both of these guys, Ridley is clear number 1. Julio's gone now, so his volume was already good with Julio there. That's only going to go up. A.J. Brown, same thing. That Julio is there now, so he has some competition, but I still think he's the number 1. He still's got rapport with Tannehill, so I think Jones will be the number 2 there. So he will lose some volume, but he's kind of a deep third anyway, so I feel like he'll still be heavily involved. 8 and 9, we got DK and Keenan Allen. DK obviously exploded his second year. This is a little low on his ADP with these receivers. Are probably going to go in the second, so some of these running backs are definitely going to be there. This is just how I draft. That's how I got my rankings. But where they kind of go is irrelevant. So, I mean, you're probably going to get one of these receivers in second in your drafts, and these running backs are probably going to drop in the third. They'll be flipped. The value of running backs is too heavy not to get to if you can. After Keenan, I got Julio Jones. After Julio Jones, I got Amari Cooper. Julio Jones' new team getting a little old. I think the biggest issue with Julio is his injury history. Amari Cooper's has been a stud no matter where he's been, so don't expect him to have much of a drop-off. Robert Woods and Tyler Lockett. I had Woods there, but I think it's going to be Justin Jefferson, number 1 in Minnesota. And now I have to get running backs because that's just how it works. So Third round running backs. Last running back we had taken was Clyde Edwards. Clyde Edwards was 18. 19th on my list is Miles Sanders. So, got a draft as the teams would. Even though I like the receiver, I would have picked their better. They would have wanted a running back. And 20th is Najee, but Najee went to him. 21st is Raheem Mostert. And now it's Dustin's turn. So Dustin's probably going to look for a receiver, but he also likes to get through running backs sometimes. Since Terry McLaurin was there, I'm assuming that's who he's going to grab. But he also has the ability to get Kittle and Waller. But since he knows it's going back to me, he and I have a tight end, he gets McLaurin. Receivers. After McLaurin, I got CeeDee Lamb on my list. And when I'm already got a tight end, I got a running back, a tight end, and a receiver. A lot of running backs here that don't really impress me. So I think here I'm going to select Patrick Mahomes. It'd be hard to pass up Mahomes there because he goes early. And then there we have it, another running back. So let's pause the draft again. So let's get back, keep going the running backs. I think that's where we're at. Mozart's was last. Mozart is 21st. 22nd would be Edmonds and Henderson. Edmonds took over the backfield towards the end of the season, kind of never let it go. And then Henderson wasn't on anyone's radars, but as soon as their back went down, his ADP should be climbing on your board, so it would be hard to not take him. So after Henderson, we'll go back to receivers. Last receiver we took was Robinson. What was on my list was McLaurin. McLaurin was 20th. 21st was CeeDee Lamb, who I got. 22nd, way down here, we have Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd, they did get a number one receiver there, but he had really good chemistry with the rookie last year, and I don't see any reason for him not to be keeping that up. 23rd, we have DJ Moore. But we're now on our tight end, here, so we can go Kittle and Waller, actually. Kittle and Waller both go around third and fourth, maybe even early second, but I have them as my fourth round selections. And Josh Allen, I have around my fifth. That's the next quarterback I got off the board. Receivers, after Boyd, After Boyd, we'd be going to 20. He's 22. We got 23, which is up here. DJ Moore. For some reason, Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin should be higher than that. I don't know how he bumped off my list. He should have been up here somewhere, but that's okay. Probably after Tyler Boyd. And then we have Robert Woods. We got DJ Moore. We got Adam Thielen. It's kind of all these guys right here about the same. I also have Tyler Lockett, who would have could have went a little earlier than this, but this mid-tier receivers here, they're just all so similar. It's hard to justify which one's where. All right, so probably around here, you're looking at Josh Allen. Also around here, you're probably looking about Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson. And then you got your, probably going to go with a few running backs. My last running back I got off the board was Henderson. Henderson was 22. 23, we have him. 24. You're looking at Kareem Hunt. And then after that, you have Mike Davis. Kareem Hunt, it's a great flex. He is behind Chubbs, but he gets tons of work. They really like him. They really think they can have a 1-2, which is really rare in the NFL. After this, I like Mike Davis just because he's an established guy and he had third down work in his last team, so I don't expect him to have any problems. Myles Gaskin's going to start the season as top running back, but since this team needs a receiver, we'll go back to the receivers. Last receiver was Tyler. This mid-tier, like I said, is pretty even, so we're going to give him Brandon Ayuk, number 1 in San Francisco. And then we're going to go back out here. This team still needs a receiver as well, so we're going to go Galladay. And then here we have 2 receivers and 3 running backs. Running backs are definitely more important. So Myles Gaskin, the starter in Miami. They have been talking about a shared workload there, but he did fairly good his rookie year, so there's no reason he shouldn't be. Right back in the mix, running backs after Myles Gaskins. We have James Robinson, starting running back in Jacksonville. And then here we have starting running back in Denver. We will take off pause for Dustin. Take a catch my breath. So Patrick Mahomes ain't gonna go the 4th, but this is how I got my draft laid out. So when you got this, these players are gonna go Eckler, Waller, Kittle, and Waller are gonna go higher. But this is if I was drafting the teams. Godwin's gonna go higher. Kareem Hunt's gonna go higher. these quarterbacks at the end of the fifth, probably somewhere around the fourth or third, they're probably going to get taken. Gaskin, Robinson, Gordon, Davis, probably not going to go that high, but I put emphasis on 3 running backs. Running backs are more important than receivers, plus you have more receivers, so your running back should go off the board faster. So he has Cooper Kupp. He was the next receiver on my list, so I need a running back very badly, even though there's not much left. So let's go to my list. Last running back I selected was Gordon. Melvin Gordon, 28. 29th, I got Ronald Jones. 30th, I got James Conner. And 31st and 36th, Singletary and Edwards. So really isn't much here as far as potential starters. So you let your running back, you go quarterback and tight end early, you're going to be struggling. I will go with Ronald Jones. He is the starter in Tampa Bay, and Damian Harris is the starter in New England. It's very important to grab a flex as a running back if you can. Not always if the draft pans out a certain way, but if you can get a starting running back as your flex, that's the best scenario. Damian Harris should get the vast majority of the workload, but Patriots are always a split back team. So there goes quarterback. So usually how drafts work, something goes off the board and other teams follow. So we had a quarterback go there. So let's say quarterbacks go off the board, right? So Dak Prescott is the next one. After that would be my next tier, which is Herbert, Tannehill, Rodgers, Brady. My order would be the slingers first. Herbert had an amazing year. People project him and Tannehill to go pretty high, and that's because they can run a little bit. I probably would pick Tannehill over Herbert, but most ADP has Herbert quite a bit higher. After a run on quarterbacks, it's likely to be a run on tight ends. A top tight end on my board, I have Andrews, Hawkinson's Pitt. Andrews was a tight end 3 a couple years. Even last year when it seemed like his production was down, he did have some big games here and there. After those tight ends, there's grab your tight end later. So now we'll go back to running backs and receivers. If it was me, I'd be trying to get as many of these running backs as I can, even though there's not a lot of good stuff left. Zach Moss. He's supposed to be the starter in Buffalo. Etney is sharing work with Robinson. Odell obviously could bounce back and could be top 10 talent. We got Deontay in Pittsburgh. We have best payer available at this time. Getting Michael Thomas somewhere around the 7th or 6th round can be a steal, especially when you got 2 running backs, 2 receivers already. Getting this guy, he won't be your flex right away, but getting him as your potential flex later in the season is huge. Once you have your lineup, you can gamble on some younger guys. Sometimes when you get to a spot where you're like your lineup, people tend to overpick someone, which we're trying not to do here. So easy would be to throw a quarterback in here, but getting more good players is always a good thing. This team definitely needs their third running back. You're looking at Harris is already off. David Johnson, starting the year as the third down back, but could move up the list quick. You have Trey Sermon. He's starting behind Raheem Mostert, but it seems like he's the B there, not really the number 2. So he'll move up the roster really quick. Javonte Williams, he is the backup in Denver, but Gordon has injury history and he's already pushing him, so that definitely could turn quick. Juju Smith's my next receiver. I also really like Debo. He's Ayuk's 1B. And now it is back to my buddy. So we definitely don't want to look at receivers or running backs here. Not really much left at running back already, which is the way it would go if I was the one picking. Ronald Jones is gone. 30th, we have James Conner. James Conner is probably who I'm going to select. More of your typical running back versus Edmonds. Kenyon Drake's also a good pick because if for some reason Josh Jacobs got hurt, you'd have a high volume pass catcher and rusher in your lineup. Carter is not the starter, but could be really quick. A.J. Dillon's a good backup there. Fournette's one of those cycle guys in Patriots. Receivers, you got Robbie Anderson, Higgins, Chark's number 1, but might have fallen on the roster because he's bad here. Higgins is a really crowded receiving core. Cortland got hurt last year, but is the number 1 when healthy. So receivers, last receiver I selected on here was Claypool. So we're looking at, you got 29 for Thomas, 30 we have Debo, 31 we have Landry. You kind of, when you need a starter, you got to kind of look past stuff here. So I think I will go. Cortland and Judy. Going to turn on auto select for computer now. Get this rolling. So we'll see if it does that. Alright, so after you get your roster pretty much filled out, it's just selecting the best running backs and receivers you can get. I wouldn't recommend going 2 quarterbacks or 2 defenses. If you go quarterback high, definitely plug and play. If you go quarterback low, you want to grab the best quarterback available at the time. Higgins, 3 receivers set. So he still had a really good year, but he is third on the depth chart. Goddard's a great tight end. Anderson, I was tempted to get him. Chark, same thing. It's all that volume. Fuller's going to be suspended, but number 1 when he's available. These are that next tier of quarterbacks. You got receivers. You got running back in the cycle. You got Lander, who I was looking at my last pick. You got touchdown-dependent tight end, rookie running back, backup running back, solid 10th tight end of the draft, potentially low-tier number 1 when healthy, supposedly will be a 1B to Edmonds, looking like the best receiver out of Jacksonville. Gronk, Brown is in a 3 share in Tampa Bay. You got young quarterback, and you got Corey Davis. It's a great pick for Dustin. I will go another receiver here. I will grab Michael Pittman, and I will also grab a running back in Philip Lindsay. Michael Pittman could be the 1B to T.Y. Hilton, and Philip Lindsay is taking most of the first string reps in Houston, but he has David Johnson there as the third down back, and they have another rookie. So it is a crowded backfield, but Lindsay, when healthy, has been a solid number 1. And David Johnson aging, I expect Lindsay to be the starter. Corey Davis, I forgot about him. I probably would have selected him up here if I would have known. My list was a little bit short. I would have been looking more at it if I was just drafting and not focusing on all these teams. Waddle, young receiver. Thomas is one of the most targeted tight ends in the league last year. Williams is hurt. Solid when he's healthy. Hines is the pass catcher in Indy. You got rookie quarterback. Young, great tight end in Minnesota. Great late round selection if you're going for late tight ends. Third receiver in Dallas. Third receiver in Washington. Early defense, don't like it. Singletary, Higbee. Higbee's a tight end I'm targeting if I don't get an early one. Marquise Brown, Tucker. Kickers this early is kind of weird. Defense is going on a run. Usually when they go on runs like this, you don't want to follow the trend, right? Because once the trend is started, you're getting the back end of the trend, you might as well wait. So a bunch of tight ends go, a bunch of quarterbacks go, a bunch of defenses go. Just don't follow the trend. Just get the best player available. Let them struggle with their problems. So I'll get the other Jaguars receiver here, and I will grab a running back here. Kind of how I play towards the end of the draft is I go back and forth. I see a running back I like, I see a receiver I like, I kind of just grab one of both. Last 2 picks, I go defense and kicker. I don't always go that way. If these defenses didn't go on a run, and then say I got over here and I wanted to get the Redskins or Steelers or Bucks, Rams, 49ers, that's probably who I would look at. If I wanted to not pick Penny here, which I probably could have got later, if I looked at it again, I probably would have went San Francisco's defense instead. But defenses you can plug and play each week. You can play matchups. You can use your waiver wires on getting a defense against a bad offense every week. It's a really good strategy as well. So Jamal Williams was Aaron Jones' backup in Green Bay. He will be the rookie's backup in Detroit, but still will be a third down catcher. So if you need a flex play, he could play there. Hardman's the number 2 in Kansas City, but picking the number 2 in Kansas City is kind of hard. Parker's number 1 in Miami. Backup kicker, defense, great pick here. Edwards backup, good kicker, good late round quarterback. I wouldn't recommend Fields. Might not even start of the year. Would be a top 8 running back if Elliott goes down. Ruggs breakout potential. T.Y.'s getting less production every year. Boomer Bust gets injured. Solid starter. Don't know much about Smith, to be honest. Mooney is a young receiver that behind Allen Robinson, but is getting tons of hype in camp. Could definitely push to be the number 1 next year if Robinson doesn't sign. So here you got his defense. Still needs a kicker, but now he's just looking for the best available player, which means I will get the defense of my choice. Good defensive ends in Green Bay. Good defensive ends in Cleveland. Get the sacks. Probably what I'll do. And then it's getting my kicker. I usually like to get Jason Myers just because I like to have a Seahawk on my team, and I prefer to have a Seahawk that is not dependent on the insane inconsistency that their offense is, because one week they will run the ball 90 times, the next week they'll throw the ball 90 times. And this is one thing Dustin likes to do, which a lot of people like to do, is get your second quarterback late that could be a run-heavy rookie quarterback. So that is a mock draft. I tried to get through this as fast as I could. I hope everyone has a good night, and I will see you on Who to Start updates throughout the week, starting on right before the regular season starts in about 10 days. Good night.